Welcome to episode 3 on Finance Bill 2023-2024, in which we shall look at whether the government is deliberately allocating resources for unemployment. Are there resources allocated for unemployment that is high in Kenya? This is because, or this has been informed by the fact that the government has been saying time and again that it is deliberately creating opportunities so that the young population, the young unemployed population can get job opportunities. But before we proceed, kindly, if you are watching this channel for the first time, subscribe so that whenever we produce another video, because of course we are going to produce up to 6 episodes of the finance bill 2024-2025, you will get, or YouTube automatically notifies you. For those who have subscribed, thank you for remaining in the house of ideas. So back to our topic. Are there resource allocation in the proposed budget for deliberate employment? As citizens, we don't have answers, but what I'm going to do is to provide you an environment in which resources have been created or have been allocated for deliberate employment, so that you can analyze, you can evaluate what the government has done is equivalent to what it is supposed to do. In a budget whereby there is a deliberate to do something like now employment, agriculture is given the first priority. If the Ministry of Agriculture will be funded well, the issue of unemployment will be overnight. It will be overnight. And in this case, I'll take an example of one constituency. I will take an example of, say, Nyaribari Masaba constituency, and see how these resources can quickly change the people from unemployed to employed, and form a deficit in labor force. That means it will turn to making people less in the job market. Okay, Nyaribari Masaba constituency has got 5 wards, and in these wards, the government can decide that within each ward, if there are 2 locations, or 3 or 4, it is going to provide an opportunity, not necessarily the government, it can be through circles, whereby each location has got 1,000 to 5,000 greenhouse. 1,000 to 5,000 greenhouse. Where on earth within this world will you get labor? Where? It means it will consume those people who are within that locality, and in this case it will not matter whether you have a certificate or not. It means even those young men who never had an opportunity to complete their schools can as well get opportunity in those farms. Of course, with those those with education will also have their positions in the same locality. That means if we go by the advice that I'm giving, that means water must be there. Water must be there. It means for those projects to thrive, the Ministry of Agriculture must work hand in hand with the Ministry of Water and Irrigation. Another sector in agriculture that can capture the young population is dairy farming. Animal production needs total labor force, just morning to evening. That's why when you go to northeastern Kenya, they take animal production as a 24-hour economy, morning to evening, evening to morning, because even at night they need some security to be taken. So for one to be able to have effective animal production, there has to be feeds, animal feeds at a lower cost. And these animal feeds can be prepared by these farmers, by this young community or young institution, young people within that locality. Those under the daily farming, it will become their duty to ensure that they produce their feeds. And by producing these feeds, it means there is need for labor. There must also be water for production of these products. I talked of greenhouse because of the environment. You cannot grow maybe like tomatoes in those areas because of the effects of rain. We have also poultry farming. If this can as well be distributed to each location through the world, it will also make a significant change. The economy of poultry farming is can transform the lives of young people within a short time. Horticulture, okay, that one can be left maybe for another uh, constituents that performs well. But with the vegetables, I know for that constituents they can be able to feed the entire western Kenya. But the problem has been the weather. I remember when I completed my high school, I did plant tomatoes in about 1.5 acre. As I was now seeing money ahead of me, one evening it rained and completely the ice destroyed my tomatoes, which were actually were about 2 weeks to take to market, and I was expecting that I will even have a vehicle because there was that shortage of tomatoes by then. Even I remember someone killed himself because of the destructions of the rain. So the greenhouse are very essential. If those areas or most areas have greenhouse and they have water, then the issue of food security will be sufficient, will be tackled. The issue of employment will be tackled, and this will attract complementary industries like those making, because one will expect there will be too much, for example tomatoes, that will making them adding value to tomatoes and many others, cabbages, avocados. So that is the first thing that agriculture can do. This is simply an example given to just one constituency. Different constituencies have different constituencies have different uh, environment, and they produce different uh, crops. The same can be applicable to different constituencies. Next, let's come to the Ministry of Water that I can tackle a little bit. Water, the Ministry of Water is very essential. So the issue of maybe dams is non-negotiable. Are there deliberate ways of ensuring that there is water all over Kenya? Even animal production is in northeastern is becoming so difficult because of water. There is no sufficient water. Farming in northeastern parts cannot take place because there is no water. Just take an example of Samburu County. What if there is water sufficiency? Don't you think people will move from all over the Republic of Kenya to Samburu to invest there because there is water? What is putting people away from the northern parts is simply water. Does it mean all over the years, or even in the current budget, there is no deliberate methods of deciding that now let's deal with Samburu County once for all? Let's make sure Samburu County has water, because development must begin from somewhere. Now let's decide that Wajir County is water self-reliant. That doesn't mean that other parts have water. Water passes through Kisii to Lake Victoria to Nile, but still people have to walk about 2 kilometers to fetch water from the river. So water is an issue everywhere. So when I heard the Kenya Kwanza regime talk of dam construction, I was very happy because I thought water will be everywhere. Of course, they have been able. The previous regime and the current one are doing some good work on the last mile electricity production, but water as actually we cannot say we have not gone even the first mile. So what should be done actually? What should be done to ensure that there is sufficient water for domestic use and for animals? For domestic use and for animals and for farming. A few days ago in Nairobi there was floods, what, but the other day and including today, people, I wonder what happened. People are moving with the mitungis looking for water. They are loitering everywhere, and this is because of governance issues. So the Ministry of Water is very essential for employment, just by providing its provisions, by doing the right thing. You cannot do irrigation minus water. That's why most irrigation schemes in Kenya have failed. The Ministry of Transport is also very essential for provision of affordable services. For example, I like what Museveni said. The railway railway line should be everywhere because it provides easy transportation services, cheapest, unlike the road transport. One thing that I forgot to talk about when I was talking of farming and the issue of greenhouse, and within that constituency, for example, that I had given an example in Nyariba and Kisaba, one thing that can be done is to ensure that since we have about 290 constituencies in Kenya, and there was an idea that Moses Kuri had come up with that died on the way of industrial parks, we can have such industrial parks in which we have ambassadors from the 290 constituencies in Kenya. These ambassadors are those who will ensure that there is a ready market for the goods produced, for the goods, for the agricultural goods that have been produced in a given area. They are the ones to ensure that their home counties don't suffer or suffocate because of lack of some products which are ready and plenty in a given area. That's why the railway line should actually be everywhere so that there is easy transportation of goods from one constituency to another. Even before you talk of exporting goods, there is sufficient market. People, if you go to Laikipia, sometimes sometimes they throw away food because of lack of market. At that same time, people are starving elsewhere. So when we have such ambassadors, they will always say, if it is in Kisumu where we have maybe fish in plenty at that particular time, and in Kangundo there is nothing, then the people of Kangundo can easily take the fish from there with ease, and this will lower the food production at that particular area or all over the republic. So sometimes you find people straining that they want to export while there is available market at home, thus denying the opportunity of the young people, because once you produce goods and they don't get to the market, it means there will not be salaries for your work. So I'm doing this so that you can look at the budget whether there is deliberate efforts to fund employment. Also, we have the issue, the Ministry of Labor. The Ministry of Labor is very significant in providing employment opportunities together with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs if they can work in a harmonious way. They talk of a one government approach when there is an issue or when the CS has been found overstepping his mandate. That's when they talk of a one government approach. If the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Ministry of Labor are very serious or have deliberate issue, are deliberate on the issue of unemployment in Kenya, they should come up with proper policies that will guide even foreign relations. The other day, the president went to United States, the most powerful economy, I think, in the world, but it lacked proper coordination on the people to people relations. It was actually state to state relations. So if there was deliberate, if the budget, they have to prepare a budget that is deliberate on employment, then something has got to be done. It is very difficult to go to some of these countries, and it doesn't need the government to do much. It's only bilateral agreements between the various countries. Like now, as he went to South Korea, there has to be bilateral agreements. We have agents in Kenya who are facing problems, more especially, for example, when going to US, you must have a bank statement that is worth. Why can't the government come up with ways? Now, this is where the government accounts should work, the CDFs. Why can't it have an account whereby it is agreed by all of the governments, because it is the government which is in charge, and for those who want to go away can have already an account with the government, maybe at the world level, that will be able to support you when these countries need statements. A statement is just to show that you have a ability, you can go and you can come back. Does it mean the government does not have an ability of doing that? Because that is what is mostly disturbing people, not going to Kasarani where they say they have an office. What is really disturbing people